I'm an environmental engineer here at CERC. I manage the G Crew site. I'm getting ready to retire. I got 43 days, but who's counting? And people are just curious as to what's going on. And since this was a changes thing, I thought I'd do this. And this will mostly be fun. There's no graphs. I don't have any data yet. I just wanted to say I'm really blessed to have been here all this time. And my whole life, I just kind of fell into things. I didn't really like school. I got a scholarship, so I went into engineering. Hated that. Had a teacher steer me into agriculture. I got an ag engineering degree from the University of Tennessee. Bumped into the dean there who steered me into Peace Corps. They sent me to Jamaica, which was like the toughest job you'll ever love. That was a great 2.5 years, and instilled in me a love of the Caribbean. And then when you get out, they help you with federal jobs. And not knowing anything about it, I got into effects of global change, specifically of elevated atmospheric carbon dioxide on crops. I worked for USDA for 5 years doing that. I was in Phoenix, Arizona, working on cotton. Didn't really like the desert all that much, and the city, and I was with a collaborative project in Mississippi, and I got the word out that I was looking to come back east, and I was recruited to come here to CERC to work at G Crew by Dr. Bert Drake over there in the upper left-hand corner, and we had a little project with these small chambers working on elevated atmospheric carbon dioxide in the marsh ecosystem. And I thought I'd try it out, and see how that worked, and that was like almost 34 years ago. Still here. And the place has grown like crazy since then. We are pretty good at publishing, so people that want to do that kind of work are drawn to CERC and our projects, and we just keep adding things, which is wonderful and fantastic. It keeps me really busy, but my pay hasn't really gone up with commensurate. So I'm working a lot harder now than I was, ever before, and that's good and bad. But that gives me incentive to move on. I got introduced to Belize by Candy Feller, who was mentioned earlier, was showing some beautiful pictures of mangroves and palm trees and everything, and I went out and said, how do I get to go there? And she said, talk to this guy at Natural History. So I did, and I was fortunate enough to secure a position with them just part-time. This was the island. This is what it looked like when I first got there. I went for the first time in 1995. And they were working out of this old, it was people who owned the islands had like a summer home there. That burned down in 1997. So when I came back my second trip, they had built a whole new facility, and we were putting in a weather station that we went back. It's still operational to this day. There's Roy Rich standing next to the tower that supports some of the instruments. And in the meantime, Marine Geo set up a place. They have a platform off the island. The island's tiny. Here you can see it there from the platform. There ain't much to it. I do a lot of painting and other stuff when I'm there. My job is always to get invited back. So I'll do whatever it takes. And so then some of these last couple trips I've been more involved with the Marine Geo platform. Over COVID, things kind of went downhill really fast. When you're exposed to the ocean like that, things don't last that long, and so we had to basically replace everything. So that's us down there working on that, and I hope to keep an association with that because I'm going to be living nearby. While I was there, the way the air flights went, it was cheaper to stay an extra day. So I went up to this place that I had visited a couple times before. It's called the Toucan Ridge Ecological and Education Society, and they have about 200 acres, and they do education and research, and they host undergraduate groups. They can sleep 50 people. They have these cabins. When they're not doing that, they put the cabins up on Airbnb, and that's how I found the place. And it's just a beautiful place up in the hills to stay. So I was there talking to the lady that runs it, and she said, we could really use some help up here, but where would I find somebody who'd be willing to move to Belize? And I was like, well, I'm eligible for retirement. So I got involved with them, And one of their big focuses is birds, bats, and herps. We use mist nets like over there on the left, and they do bird banding there. So this is a migratory bird, and they do all these measurements. They have a big key that's about this thick that they can find a species of birds and also age them and sex them by different characteristics. This is a trogon. It's a local bird that's pretty big, and they get ready to band it there so they can measure the foot to figure out which kind of a band to put on it. I don't have to get involved with all this stuff that much, apart from as a part of the management staff, just to support what they're doing, kind of like I support everything at G-Crew. So this is them measuring bats. So they handle these bats, and we'll go out at night and use the same kind of net system and catch these bats and make measurements on them. This is a turtle up here. They track turtles. They actually glue like a transmitter to them, and so they can track them through the ecosystem. I'm a plant guy, all right? So if we want to study plants, we cut them down and we weigh them and grind them and we, whatever. They're just plants, nobody cares. It's a little different dealing with animals, and I'm not super comfortable with that. I'm glad that I don't have to do that myself, because you catch these animals, and even though they're very conscientious and well trained, the animals are stressed, and it's definitely different than dealing with plants. As part of that, though, they have a farm. So the site originally was a citrus orchard. About half of the 200 acres was in citrus. They do have jungle areas surrounding it. And then, so since then, they keep a section of the farm running as a farm. And they do that mainly for habitat. The birds and the bats really like the edge habitat. They can go in and out from the forest and feed in the farm area and then get shelter in the forest areas. So that's the main reason that they keep it going. But while they got the farm running, you also can get produce. And then we're hoping to leverage that into another thing that we can use for education, where we can get classes that are interested in tropical agriculture. That's me with a pile of blogo, which is a kind of banana type thing that's between like a banana and plantain. But you can see it's a pretty small bunch. So one of the things we want to do is see if we can increase the yields on those kind of things. So before I got there, they also hired another guy that has been busy with the citrus industry there, and he planted 1,600 pineapples. So I had this beautiful, about 60 meter square section of pineapples that I could work with. And the first thing I did was to choose randomized plots, put out markers, mark all my plots, and get everything looking nice, because that's how we do things at the Smithsonian, right? We want to be able to show off our stuff to the public, and that's just the mindset that I brought to it. And they were so happy with what we're doing. They hired an intern, so I had an intern to work with, and we started doing measurements on the plants. We also have coconuts and citrus trees. This is a young lime tree, not a very good picture, and then they want to do things organically. The owners want to do everything organically and sustainably. So that's our opportunity to see, well, what's the best way to do that? And we can bring science into that by making measurements on everything. So we did a little experimental design. As I said, I split up my plots. We have 4 treatments, back guano and organic spray. Anybody that knows anything about organics, I always have to use like air quotes, because there's a lot of flexibility in what's deemed organic, and I don't know how organic this organic spray is, but it says organic on it, right? So, but we also produce our own compost, so that is something that we definitely know that is good. And then I assigned treatments to randomized plots, and we use just basic equipment. It was funny, my intern, we were talking about it before we met down there. He wanted to do like soil genetics and all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. Because, we have very basic equipment. We're lucky that we have like a postal scale that we can use to measure our things. And so what we end up doing a lot is measuring plants, which all our interns and new people that join us at G-Crew, I always tell them, well, we give you the scut work, or as we call it, the work. Because we spend after 37 years in this field, I'm still measuring plants all the time. I count grass, that's what I do. So that's pretty much it for the science of it. Now I just got some pretty pictures. A beautiful thing working with the Biogeochem lab is we've had, especially in the last 5-10 years, is just fantastic teamwork going on. We have a lot of different things going on. We have a lot of different people, but everybody works together well, and it's made a lot of fun, and we help each other. And I'm moving into the same kind of situation down there where they have a beautiful crew to work with. I'm really looking forward to it. We have ducks and chickens, something that, I've raised a half dozen chickens before, but it's a little different when you have 100. So I'm learning that too. There's our compost pile. It's beautiful, isn't it? We use the foul manure that we're producing along with kitchen waste, and then just general yard trash, and compost it, and they know what they're doing, and we're doing it well. We also do fun things. There was a total eclipse while I was down there, so my intern had the idea, let's go to a Mayan ruin to see it. So we went to the top of Altanaha. This is the one that's on the, if you ever seen the Belican beer ads, this is the one that's on there. We went up to the top and watched the eclipse from there. That was a blast. And just in Belize, there's all kind of culture all over the place going on. This is the view from the island. As I said, I want to keep going out there. This is the neighborhood where I'm working now, and I love the mountains. It's cool at night, so I can sleep. That's a big. And this is just some pictures from the island, and I always take pictures. Taking pictures of fish is one of my little hobbies I got from down there. Oh, but coral bleaching, if you haven't, ever really experienced it, that's a real issue. And we had an artist that was talking with us a while back, and she was interviewing me, and she said, what really keeps you up at night? And I said, wow, it's going to the island for 25 years now, just the general decline of everything. There's less fish, they're smaller, there's more pollution, there's more coral bleaching, it's just stressful, but still fun, still see nice, good looking fish. And being part of the monitoring of it is the best we can do, for us kind of people. And then just the fauna that's there, and the people of Belize. Got to go swimming in a cave at the bottom of a cenote, and swimming back there and singing in the dark was just fantastic. This is a peanut-headed bug. Its head is like the size and shape of a peanut. Why? I don't know. And the whole thing is about 4 inches long, and it's got these beautiful wings. Anyway, it's just a lot of fascinating stuff, and a lot of beauty to surround me. And that's my talk. Thanks for listening.